Hi, I'm Assistant State Fire Marshal Pat McLaughlin with the Vermont Division of Fire Safety, State Fire Marshal's Office. This month we're talking about emergency planning and practicing your fire escape. So if an emergency like this happens to your family, you're ready.
I'd like to spend a few minutes with you here this morning talking about how to develop and implement a home escape plan for your family and your homes. So the first thing I like to do is schedule a family meeting. This can be done in a kitchen, a dining room, even a living room, some place of comfort where you can have the attention of your children when we lay out the foundation for what the necessary steps are. And the first thing I like to do is talk about choosing a meeting spot. Now, some of you may already have a meeting spot. Maybe you practice going to your meeting spot and exiting your home with your children. What we find in fire prevention is most families, in fact, have never practiced developing a home escape plan. And this is really critical in ensuring that your family quickly and safely exits your home in an emergency, such as a fire, and goes to a safe place. So the first thing we can do is select a meeting spot. Now, this can be a tree in your front yard, it could be a neighbor's house, it could be a mailbox. What I like to say is some object that's far enough away from your home but yet still in a safe place where you're not close enough to a building or a structure that's involved in some type of emergency, and also not in the way of emergency responders such as police officers, firefighters, EMTs, that sort of thing, that are going to be responding to your home and going to work. So this can be an open discussion with your children. I like to create a fun activity and hand out materials, sometimes make it sort of like an art project. And there are various sites that we can access through the Vermont Division of Fire Safety. The National Fire Protection Agency also has various educational resources for us, and even FEMA.gov allows us to print out sort of a checklist that we can walk through. And this here allows the children to sort of check the boxes and draw a map of their home. So the first thing we like to do is finding two ways out. We always teach and educate children to look for doors as primary ways to exit their home, which generally speaking is the quickest way for them to exit, but also look for windows. Windows as a second means of egress in the event their primary exit, such as a door, is blocked. This comes to play when we ask them to walk through their bedrooms and count the number of windows and doors, that sort of thing. So we want to select a safe meeting spot. Once you've selected your safe meeting spot, you should walk out of your house before the drill and sort of identify this all together as a family so you know where it is. Then we can begin with the activity I was talking about and give your children an assignment. Children love fun assignments, especially art projects that'll allow them to be a part of this process. And in doing so, the goal of this activity is for them to start visualizing what their home looks like. We know children live in different homes, so we want them to be able to draw a diagram that represents the home that they live in. So in the event that they experience an emergency and have to leave their home, they know where the quickest and safest way to do so is. So these educational resources are great because they allow them to list different family members, as well as maybe the phone numbers of some of their close neighbors. Now, one thing that I always like to talk about when kids mention neighbors' homes is I always really emphasize homes that are either next door or maybe the house next to the one that's next door, because it's really critical for first responders to be able to access a family member, preferably an adult, to gain information when we first arrive on the scene, specifically as everyone out of the home. And if a family exits their home and chooses a meeting spot that's too far away, first responders might not see them when they initially arrive on the scene. And it's really critical to sort out that information early on in an emergency for us, specifically when we go to search the home. So the children can list out whatever resources they want. Telephone numbers are really important, as well as them knowing their address. So we've covered selecting a meeting spot, and we've talked about designing a map of their home. What we'd like them to do is use some type of paper where they can identify where the doors and windows are, and sort of allows them to draw arrows of how they would exit a home. And what I like to do is create different scenarios of where a fire could be located in a home, just to see what kind of answers they'd give us, in terms of allowing them to think about what's the quickest way out of every room in the home. So once we have that completed, the next thing I like to do is practice escaping as a family. And it's really critical to be able to practice this both in the daylight hours and at night. But I like to start out with the most basic method, which is sometime during daylight hours, to activate your smoke detectors in the home, which is really another good opportunity to ensure that they're working, because we know working smoke detectors save lives and give us time to exit our homes. But this is a fun activity, again, for the children to be involved. Sometimes I like to allow them to push the button and activate the detectors. It reminds them of what they sound like. And then from there, we can proceed as a family to exit our home through preferably the doors. We don't want children to be exiting the homes in a non-emergency situation through windows that are above the first level for safety reasons. But we're going to exit the home and go to our meeting place. We're going to ensure that we all know where that is and talk about how we ensure everyone is out of the home. Just like sports activities, it's really critical for us to understand how we do this in a non-emergency setting, so we don't panic when our house is on fire, or it's been struck by lightning, or we see smoke and we have to exit quickly. The next thing we'd like to talk about with our children is calling 911. Now, there may be situations where we're able to call 911 before we exit our home. In fire prevention, we really like to talk about exiting our home as quickly and safely as possible. And what that means is stopping what we're doing when we hear smoke detectors or a fire alarm system sounding, depending on what you have in your building, and going to your meeting spot. Children are always curious about what they should do if they don't have a phone. And I always tell them that one advantage of choosing a neighbor's house is we can knock on the door and have a neighbor call 911. Now, we know that there may be situations where the neighbors are not home. So we talk about what alternatives we have to calling 911. And to be honest, it's really critical to just tell your children straightforward. There may be situations where it's more important for us to exit our homes and go to a safe meeting spot before we call 911, and then we'll figure out how we call first responders. Another thing I like to talk about with the meeting spot is, never to go back inside to get something, whether it's a pet, whether it's a favorite object, a pillow, a teddy bear, that sort of thing. Those items are always replaceable. And we know that most people that go back into homes to help out people, generally speaking, they don't come back out. So we get out and we stay out. We never go back in our homes until they're cleared by first responders and we're told to do so.
Thanks for joining us and continuing to watch here with the Division of Fire Safety in this month's video. Today I have with me Ian Kilburn, with the administrator for the Vermont Alert System. So this is something that you can use to better prepare your family for notifications for events or emergencies happening throughout the state. So I'll let Ian talk a little bit more about this system and how you can sign up.
Great, thanks Pat. Like Pat said, I'm Ian Kilburn. I'm the VT Alert Administrator for the Division of Emergency Management. So one great way to stay prepared and be prepared is to stay informed, and a great way that we accomplish that at the state is through the VT Alert program. So by signing up, you go to vtalert.gov. You can create an account. If you have an existing account, you can modify it that way as well. You just follow some simple links, and from there you would create a username and a password, enter in some information, and then you can sign up for any area throughout the state of Vermont and set subscription levels where you can get notified by weather alerts, traffic alerts, and any other related timely public safety messaging. We've partnered with several state agencies to get that information to you, as well as the National Weather Service and local municipalities. So the information you're getting may come from the National Weather Service. It may also come from your local town government, so that you can get those timely messages quickly in the time of crisis.
That's great. It's an awesome opportunity and a good family planning thing you can do. So making sure that you get onto that website. We'll leave a link in the description below, and I'll also make sure we throw it out there so everyone knows where they can go to sign up for those important notifications from the state. Take the time now to sit with your family and do emergency planning before there's an incident.
And remember, fire will not wait. Plan your escape now, and remember to have working smoke and CO alarms.
Did you know that 60% of Americans don't have a family emergency plan in place? Despite that, 80% will encounter some kind of weather emergency in their family in the next 5 years.
Sounds like to me they need to set up emergency notification, get that family escape plan ready, and get some supplies just in case. But really, what are you guys waiting for? Get on it.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Division of Fire Safety's YouTube channel. Just that way, over there. We'll see you on the next one.